guys, this is Abby, and this video is how I got Storm. So I've seen a lot of how I got my pet type videos, so I decided to do one on Storm, and I will be doing one on Misty sometime next week probably. So Storm is a Lop New Zealand Dwarf mix. Now some people may argue about the New Zealand part, but I think he is because New Zealand's can come in other colors besides white. He was born in the summer of 2013, so you can calculate his age depending on when you are watching this. So Storm is my first rabbit, which means this is also kind of like how I got into rabbits as well as how I got Storm. So it all started back in early summer of 2013 when I was kind of wanting a pet but wasn't really looking for a pet. And me and my mom were just sitting at the counter and looking at our goats out the window, and she said that she really wanted sheep for wool. And then she's like, oh well, we don't have land. And then she's like, well, maybe I'll get like some Angora rabbits. And then she looked at me and she was like, how about you get Angora rabbits? And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I kind of brushed it off for like a week, but then we were at the library and I had nothing to do, and then it popped into my mind about the rabbits again. So I started researching, and of course I started researching about all the wrong stuff about rabbits. You know, I wanted a hutch with a wire flooring. You know, I didn't even think about adopting or that rabbits should even have veggies because that was just like not a thing. Of course, wrong researching is pretty popular because people just don't know about the indoor stuff or the proper care. So fast forward to August. In this time I was looking for a rabbit and still looking into stuff and thinking about things to buy for it. Every summer I go to my grandmother's in Connecticut, and of course I don't have Wi-Fi at my house. A lot of you guys know that. And she has, so I was doing so much research and I was looking all over for, you know, Angoras and other types of bunnies, because all this time I have been looking for an Angora but haven't been able to find any because there really aren't anywhere around where I live. I just don't live in a very populated area. So. And this is the time when my thoughts about rabbits changed. I remember it so well. I had just like Google Chrome open and I had YouTube in one tab and eBay in the other, and on the eBay tab I had a hutch in my cart. So then I was about to check out, then it popped into my mind, I'm like, what do I need for a rabbit? So YouTube was the most obvious thing to look for it, so I just searched what you need for a rabbit. And of course 101 Rabbits video popped right up because it has a lot of views, and I watched it and I was just so intrigued by everything. I was like, what? And then all of a sudden I saw, you know, Mocha and Lulu indoors on the rug, and I'm like, rabbits don't live indoors. And I like laughed and kind of brushed it off. And then I went back to the hutch tab and I just started thinking about it, and I just X'd it out for now. And then I went back to 101 Rabbits channel and watched some more videos. And then, you know, then I found Budget Bunny and BinkyBunny.com and all these other channels and websites, and just started finding more and more and more. So I didn't know about adopting until after I got Storm, but now I knew about proper care. Now the problem was I already had the go-ahead from my parents that I can get a rabbit, but that's the outdoor thought. Now that I have known that they should live indoors, especially in the climate that I live, I was just like, okay, now how do I get my parents to let me? So I asked them, and immediately they said no to indoors. They were like, it's gonna smell, it's gonna, you know, mess up everything, and your siblings aren't gonna like it. It kind of set me back a little bit, but when I got home from my grandmother's, I set up like my desk, and if you've seen my original setup, it's like my second video, it's my most popular video. That's the setup that I just set up, and then I brought my parents upstairs and I'm like, this is where it will live. The litter box will be right there, that will be there, that will be there, and it will live right here, and it's not going to make a mess. And I basically just mapped it all out with even setting up my room how it would be like. So then they were just like, all right, but if it smells, it's going outside. So all of September I kept looking for rabbits. I kept buying a couple things here and there. I had the litter box and I had a water bottle because I didn't really know about water bowls until I got Storm. So now on to basically the actual story. So August 12th of 2013, my dad, brother, and little sister went to work for this lady that we kind of know to rake leaves. They came back and they were like, "Hey Abby, she has some rabbits and we told her that you're looking for one and she said you can have one." So I was just like, "Really?" But then they told me they were for meat and my mom's like, "Well, they're probably ugly meat rabbits." As soon as I heard that they were for meat, I immediately wanted one even more. I wanted to save it from being eaten. We almost didn't go because we didn't need to go back to town and she lives quite far away and she's gone a lot of the time during the day, so we were like, oh, she's probably not gonna be there. So I really had to convince my mom and dad to let me go up there. I begged them all day long and it was finally evening. It was like we didn't leave till around 3 and we were finally able to go up there. Now this woman, she is a little bit not crazy, but a little bit out there. She basically gets rabbits wherever she can and just breeds them for meat. So there was Holland lops and lion heads and it was just really weird. So she had about, I don't know, 15 adults, maybe 10 adults, about 5 or 7 teenage type bunnies, and 2 babies. So she lives really far in the woods. So all of these rabbits were kept on those small wire floor type breeder cages. She had some in a shed and others up off the ground around her garden, and she also had one on the ground kind of in the middle of her overgrown yard. So she took us around showing us all the rabbits, and I'm pretty sure I saw the one that was Storm's father. It was a black lop, and they brought us to one that she said I could have that bunny, but they brought me to that cage and there was this bigger gray rabbit. There was also this tiny little gray bunny in with her. So the woman took out the little bunny and handed him to me, and I immediately was just like, "Oh, he's so cute." He was so small that I was easily able to control him in my hand. I carried him around and she showed me the other bunny, which was, I think it was a black lion head. For some reason I really wanted a boy bunny. I'm not quite sure why, but I just really wanted one. I ended up getting Storm and it was free. He was free, but of course neutering him was $125, so that's not free. So I'm really glad that I got Storm, but I felt bad for the other little bunnies that were there. I forgot to mention that this woman only fed her bunnies hay and water, which I guess is okay. They were really scrawny and their skin wasn't very healthy. So I brought him home and I actually had to set up the cage within 30 minutes because we were going to this corn night maze event that night, and I was just rushing to get everything together, and I was really stressed out because my brother started to play drums and stuff, so I was just I got everything set, and basically I just set it all up, and then it was time to go, so I was out the door, and then I didn't get home until 11. I didn't see him until the next morning. There's poop everywhere, of course, so I picked it all up, and basically he was litter trained from then on. Also, I didn't name him till a week later because I just couldn't come up with anything. It was just so hard. So I finally came up with the name Storm because it just fit him so well, and he just means so much to me and he has taught me so much. Anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below, and I hope you guys are excited to hear Misty's story. So thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye. We'll need a very wide trunk so then it will be able to stand up. So go ahead and cut your tree out now. Then once you have that cut out, you can go ahead and take your other piece, put it on top, and then trace it again. Once you have both of them, put one away and take the other one.